The world has only one king. One man whose voice shook millions of hearts, and whose smile turned every moment into gold. The king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. And this king, in the final years of his life, wrote letters he never had the courage to send. These letters were meant for one person, Priscilla. But here's the shocking truth: the letters were found. Yet they were never shown to her. Why? Was it fear? Or did he believe some secrets were meant to remain hidden from the world? Elvis' letters were more than words. They were the rhythm of his heart, his loneliness, his quiet love. In the large, silent rooms of Graceland, Elvis would often stay awake at night, pen in hand, pouring thoughts onto paper that he could not say aloud. He wrote about memories, regrets, and a love that endured in silence. Even the king, after all, was still human. And the letters contained more than just longing. They held his inner thoughts, his unspoken fears, and the truths he never revealed. These are the questions that will unfold throughout the story. Why were the letters never sent? If the letters were found, why wasn't Priscilla shown? And why did Elvis keep these secrets locked away? The letters weren't just a record of love. They were a window into Elvis' life and heart. And in the next act, we will explore what was written inside. How these words reflected his emotions, and how they reveal the private world of the king, a world the public never saw. The one man who could change a crowd even today. People say a legend never truly disappears. But with Elvis, it was something deeper. When he walked into a room, any rooms, the air shifted. Crowds didn't just notice him. They turned toward him all at once, as if pulled by a single force. For the 50-plus generation today, that feeling never faded. Even now, when his name comes up in conversation, you can almost see a spark return to their eyes. The same spark they felt the first time they watched him glide across a stage. Elvis didn't just perform. He carried an aura, the kind of presence that happens once in a century. And behind a man that powerful, there's always a truth that nobody wants to talk about. Because while the cheers grew louder, something else grew with them. A shadow that only the closest people around him could see. And the first person who sensed that shadow was his childhood friend, Red West. Red wasn't just a member of the Memphis Mafia. He was the one who saw Elvis before the rhinestones, before the gold records, before the world claimed him. He knew the difference between the smile Elvis showed the world and the one he forced when he was fighting himself inside. And maybe that's why Red did something no one else around Elvis ever dared to do. He wrote a letter. A private, brutally honest letter. A letter that didn't praise Elvis, but tried to save him. But the most unsettling part, that letter was written, but never given to Elvis. Someone stopped it. Someone decided he shouldn't read it. Someone believed the truth inside that envelope was too dangerous to reach him. Why? Who blocked it? And what were they trying to hide? Those questions have lived inside America's older generation for decades. Because they didn't just watch Elvis rise. They lived it. They felt every heartbeat of that journey. And now, in the next act, we open the envelope itself. We discover what Red West wrote. The words that might have changed Elvis's life, if they had ever reached his hands. The stage lights dim slowly. The murmurs of the crowd fade into the background. And suddenly, Elvis's eyes carry that same old pain. As if the past itself has rested a hand on his shoulder. Backstage, Red West stands quietly, holding a white envelope, the one he had kept safe for years. This envelope carried the heaviest secret of Elvis's life. A secret that could change everything. And now, let's find out what the letter actually said. The words immediately grip the audience. Because they know this isn't just paper. It's a heartbeat, a memory, a love, and a wound all wrapped in ink. The letter begins, "Elvis, you left me that day. But even now, I've never been able to tell you the last thing." Those words feel like a wound reopening. A secret buried deep for years. The next line hits with shocking weight. "I didn't push you away out of hate or anger, but because of the fear. That if you knew this truth, we might never come back together. The audience is left asking themselves, what truth and why was it hidden? As the letter continues, each line carries a new emotional punch. I left you to keep you free. But every day I felt something missing. Something only you could fill. And then the line that strikes like lightning. If I had spoken those words, your life might have changed. And perhaps that moment would never have returned. Cinematic tension builds. Elvis holds the letter tighter. The audience doesn't see the words, but every heart in the room feels the weight. And finally, the line that turns Act 3 into an emotional cliffhanger. If we ever meet again, I will tell you the truth. That pulled you away from me all those years. This line sparks curiosity in the audience, sets up the perfect open loop for Act 4. Combines mystery plus love story plus shocking emotional weight. Elvis's face shows that old, familiar pain. The crowd feels it even if they can't name it. The letter, the words, the history. For a moment, the king is just a man. This isn't just a letter. It's the weight of love, loss, and hidden truth all at once. The letter had arrived, but the reply may never have come. Just that thought sets a strange tension in the air. What kind of words were written inside? Did Priscilla ever read it? Or did this secret remain hidden, quietly shaping the past? Elvis sits quietly, the envelope resting in his hands, preserved for years. Each word seems to pulse with a life of its own, as if the paper itself carries the weight of decades. He opens it and the first lines are simple, yet full of years of longing. Elvis, you left me that day. But even now, I've never been able to tell you the last thing. There's an ache in the words. A delicate sadness that travels straight to the heart. It's not anger, not regret alone, but a love stretched across time. The next sentence hits with a quiet intensity. I didn't push you away out of anger or hate, but out of fear that if you knew the truth, we might never have found our way back to each other. The weight of that confession hangs in the air. Love can be heavy, choices made with care sometimes leave a quiet ache. Elvis feels it deep in his chest, a reminder of the fragility of what they shared. I left you to keep you free. But every day I felt something missing. Something only you could fill. It's a gentle yet powerful reminder that even absence can carry meaning. Every memory, every quiet glance, every lost laugh, they all return in these words. And finally, the line that turns everything into an open question. If we ever meet again, I will tell you the truth. That pulled you away from me all those years. The envelope folds back into his hands. The secret is still held tight, but the promise of revelation lingers, casting a soft shadow of anticipation. The act ends here not with answers but with the quiet weight of love, loss, and the mystery that has yet to be revealed. It leaves the audience suspended, their hearts waiting for what comes next. The envelope returned to Elvis's hands, bringing with it the weight of years and words left unsaid. This was not just paper. It carried the heartbeat of a love stretched across time, the echo of choices that could never be taken back. Elvis unfolds the letter again, and this time the words seem to speak more clearly, as if they've been waiting decades to be heard. I never stopped loving you, Elvis, even when the world seemed to pull us apart. Every decision I made with your life in mind, even if it meant keeping the truth from you. The revelation lands slowly, without anger, without blames, just understanding, tender and undeniable. Elvis closes his eyes for a moment, feeling the truth that had been locked away for too long. When I walked away, it wasn't to leave you. It was to protect you, to protect us, to protect a life that could never survive the weight of what I knew. And there it is. The second open loop from Act 1 begins to resolve. The secret once hidden now stands in plain sight, not as punishment but as an act of care, fragile and loving. Elvis can almost hear the silent apologies, the quiet hopes, the regrets that stretched across the years. And in that stillness, one truth becomes clear. Love sometimes asks for the hardest sacrifices, and the heart must carry them alone. He folds the letter again, tracing its edges, committing each word to memory. A soft guitar note drifts somewhere in the room, echoing the emotions the letter carries. For the audience, the room is quiet. No applause, just a collective breath held. Hearts tethered to the story unfolding. They now understand the weight, the love, and the impossible choices that define these lives. This moment changes everything. The mystery is partially solved, the emotions fully awakened, and the stage is set for the resolution yet to come. The act closes on a gentle, lingering note. The handkerchief in Elvis's pocket, a silent witness to love, loss, and the resilience of the human heart. The theater is hushed, but the memory of the letter clings to the air like a secret waiting to breathe. Elvis stands alone, holding the envelope that carries decades of silence, each word heavier than the last. The scarf once left behind on a stage long gone. The envelope, the folded paper. All of it now seems alive. Each item a witness to the choices, the love, the regrets that shaped the life of the king. He thinks of what was lost and what was hidden. Truths held back not out of anger, but out of love too fragile to speak aloud. Fingers tracing the edges of the letter. He feels the weight of years press gently, like a heartbeat you can't forget. Every memory rushes in. The first smile, the last glance. The quiet moments that no stage ever saw. And suddenly a realization strikes. The choices, the sacrifices. The silent battles fought in the shadows. All of it was the very essence of who he was. The spotlight fades slowly, casting long, trembling shadows across the room. But it does not hide the truths. It illuminates the strength behind the silence. The fragile beauty of a heart that gave everything and never stopped loving. Audience members can almost feel it. The life behind the legend. The private sorrows, the tender courage. That music alone could never reveal. And in that moment, the legacy becomes impossible to ignore. Not trophies, not applause, not fame, but love preserved, choices made quietly, and the resilience of a human heart that refused to break. Elvis folds the letter one final time, placing it gently aside. And the room, though empty, carries the echo of a love story that survived everything and still waits to be told. The act closes on a note of pride and quiet awe. A legacy that lingers, not in sound or spectacle, but in the hearts of those who remember. The theater is quiet now. The echoes of the past, the letters, the soft strums of guitar, the shadows of the scarf and handkerchief linger in the air. It is a silence that is heavy yet comforting. Like the quiet after a storm, when the world seems to pause and take a breath. Elvis sits alone, his gaze distant, reflecting on a life that the world only partially witnessed. Not the glitz, not the roaring applause, not the stage lights that once made him feel larger than life. But the quiet moments between the notes. The private fears, the hidden joys. And the love that endured in the shadows, unseen but unwavering. Every object around him, the envelope folded over and tucked carefully away. The scarf left behind on a stage that no longer exists. The handkerchief, soft and worn with time, carries a story. They are reminders that life is measured not just in fame or recognition, but in the depth of the feelings we carry, in the courage it takes to love fully, even when the world does not notice. And in this stillness, a truth becomes clear. The greatest stories are rarely the ones told on stage, or captured in headlines or photographs. The stories that matter most are the ones lived quietly, the ones felt in the heart, and sometimes kept secret for years. Elvis thinks back to Priscilla's letter, the words that arrived decades too late, filled with love, longing, and fragile confessions. I never stopped loving you, even when I walked away. The words echo in his mind like a soft melody, reminding him that love, even when hidden, never truly disappears. He remembers the decisions made in silence, the sacrifices, the paths left unchosen, the truths kept private, all done not out of fear but out of care. Each choice had weight, each silence arisen. And now all of it folds together into a mosaic of a life fully lived. The audience, though unseen here, can almost feel it. They sense the fragility of his journey, the tenderness behind the legend, and the quiet courage of a man who gave everything he had. It is not the loud triumph of fame that moves them, but the subtle, powerful human story behind the curtain. And then comes the reflection, deep and undeniable. Every missed word, every delayed reply, every secret held. They are not regrets, but proof of love's complexity. That even in absence, love persists. That even in silence, hearts continue to beat, waiting for the moment when truth and understanding align. The scarf once tossed aside on a stage, the envelope long kept hidden, and the handkerchief soft from years of use. All symbols now of a life defined by care, by humanity, and by enduring devotion. Each holds a memory, a lesson, a heartbeat of the past. Elvis breathes slowly, feeling a calm settle over him. The spotlight dims, leaving only a warm glow, casting gentle shadows that stretch across the theater. It is in this light, soft yet unwavering, that he sees the entirety of his legacy, not the music alone, but the love, the courage, the choices, and the truth that was never easy to speak, but always deeply felt. He thinks of the thousands who cheered him, and the countless who never knew the battles fought in private. It does not matter, he realizes. What matters is the quiet knowledge that he loved fully, that he lived honestly within the limits of his circumstances, and that the heart, even when broken or tested, can endure and even flourish. And now, as the years fall away in memory, a larger lesson emerges. Life is not a series of loud victories or public accolades. Life is the small, tender moments, the whispered words in letters never sent, the courage to love when it could be dangerous, the patience to wait when no one else understands, the resilience to carry the weight of both joy and sorrow. Audience members, whether young or old, can feel the resonance. It is a lesson that transcends time. Humanity's love and memory are more enduring than fame, and often more beautiful for their quiet persistence. Elvis's eyes trace the empty seats, and for the first time in a long while, he feels a deep peace. Not the hollow peace of the world applauding, but the rich, profound peace of knowing that he lived, he loved, and he carried the weight of his life fully. And here is the most subtle yet powerful truth. Legacy is not the notes we sing or the shows we perform, but the lives we touch quietly, the love we give, and the courage we show in the face of vulnerability. The handkerchief now folded neatly in his pocket, the letter placed gently aside, the scarf remembered in its quiet corner, all fade into memory, leaving behind a story that is not just told, but felt deeply, lingering in hearts long after the final note. And so the final lesson arrives, gentle but unforgettable. Love never truly fades. Memory preserves the moments we thought lost. Courage carries us even when the world cannot see. And every human heart holds stories worth listening to, worth feeling and worth remembering. If this story touches you, let it live in your heart. Share it, remember it, carry it forward, and maybe, just maybe, stories like these remind us that love, music, and memory never fade. If this touched your heart, share it and subscribe for more.